Here in Italy, when COVID hit, it was a huge traumatic event. Italy went under the first national lockdown of any democracy since World War II. That meant that first schools closed, and then shops closed, and then finally all non-essential industry. That meant plants that were making automobiles and pipes. These are all industries that consume a lot of electricity. And when that demand went down for electricity, that transformed the market.
Energy prices tanked, but power traders in Italy were able to rake in huge sums. And grid operators passed the bill on to Italian businesses and the public.
This is a story about power, profit, and the pandemic.
There's a maneuver in the market that some researchers have called gaming, and it's a kind of a simple thing. If you don't want to sell the good that you have at a low price, you keep it off the market and wait until someone really needs it. And when that happens, you can charge a much higher price. In the power market, in those first days of COVID in particular, where we found that a single power plant could make millions of euros every day, keeping their power off the market and then selling it sometimes 5, 10, in some cases 40 times the regular price.
Dobbiamo rinunciare tutti a qualcosa per il bene dell'Italia. È per questo che ho deciso, d'accordo con gli altri componenti del governo, di adottare misure ancora più forti, ancora più stringenti, per riuscire a contenere l'avanzata del coronavirus.
I primi giorni eravamo quasi imbambolati, era una situazione inconcepibile, mai vissuta. Non abbiamo pensato subito al problema economico, ci siamo spaventati, abbiamo avuto paura di questo virus soprattutto. E abbiamo perso soldi in entrata, ma nonostante questo abbiamo continuato a pagare l'affitto del negozio e le bollette hanno continuato ad arrivare, le tasse e tutto.
Doing this investigation meant talking to as many people as we could within this sort of obscure corner of the markets, which is power trading day-to-day in Italy. This is not like the stock markets and the bond markets where there's huge transparency. Through talking to these people and crunching the data, something sort of came to light. There was an ebb and flow, there was a pattern to the way this trading happened. On slow days where there wasn't a lot of demand and the prices were low, all of a sudden some of this trading was shifting to the secondary market, the dispatch market, which could pay a lot more money.
Ettore Bompard is a professor of power systems at the Polytechnic University of Turin.
Basically, if you are a market player, you can decide if you want to offer your capacity in the energy market or in the ancillary service market. And this is perfectly, let's say, legal. You are a market player, you have to exploit the market rules to maximize your payoff, your profit. And sometimes what happened is that you can avoid to offer your capacity because you know that thanks to the physical property, the physical constraints and operational constraints of the network, your unit is surely needed in a given hour of the day to remove congestion or to be able to control the voltage profile.
This isn't a new practice. For years, during slow days, Italian power companies found a way to bring in much more money than the regular electricity market was offering.
Italy is shaped like a boot, and at the top you have Turin, Milan, Venice, and it's just a big group of wires where you can kind of supply everywhere. But you go down that boot and you have a mountain range, and it's the coasts. And down that coast you have Rome and Naples, and you get to the bottom, the heel of the boot, you have Brindisi, and then you have the islands like Sicily and Sardinia. And they aren't really completely connected to the national grid. And that's where some of these producers were able to pump up their prices on the secondary market because they weren't selling on the regular market, and they made a lot of money. In some cases, they got caught. In the Naples area, there were 3 plants that were pivotal to maintaining the voltage on the grid. And in 2010, there was an anonymous tip, and somebody said to the antitrust authorities, "You have a cartel." And the antitrust authorities and the Italian regulators looked into it. Every Sunday, there would be plant 1, then the next Sunday plant 2, and then plant 3, and then they would take a turn and go through the same cycle over and over again. And the investigation found that there had been some communication among these plants, and they were fined. The fines totaled about 300,000 euros. One of the trading heads of one of the plants told us, peanuts. Italians generally have no idea that this was happening. Your electric bill comes in, and not only is it very complicated with megawatt hours, with the amount of your consumption, whether your meter was read or not, there's a line on there with these extra costs. These come from trading strategies. These are the costs of maintaining the grid, of making sure there are no blackouts. And during COVID, when those costs went up, but the expense for the power itself went down, you just ended up with a bill that was about the same as it was before. And as somebody said, an extra billion of costs wasn't going to be noticed by anybody once you divide it up among households and businesses. Sembra giusto?
Beh, no, sembra impossibile, non ha una spiegazione logica e soprattutto è possibile?
Sì, it's legal.
Abbiamo vissuto tutti una situazione di crisi e di difficoltà enorme e c'è qualcuno che ha fatto business su questo.